Hello everybody, and welcome to my lecture about holistic cancer medicine, a gentle way to heal from cancer, with insulin potentiation, detoxification, and gut repair protocols. This lecture was originally given at the Nutrinet Academy Clinical Days in Bologna on June the 2nd of this year, and I welcome everybody to watch it here on this online presentation. From the beginning of human history to the middle of the 19th century, man was perceived as a spiritual physical being created by universal forces of divine origin. The picture you see here is from the most precious book of the early time of Renaissance, painted in France in 1412, given to the French king, or as he was called before he became a king, the Duke of Berry, in the book that is known to be The Very Rich Hours of the Duke of Berry. And this beautiful image explains how man is created by 12 divine forces. It's called the Anatomic Man. And in the corners, you can read in Latin the words that refer to Hippocrates, the father of medicine, who lived 500 years before Christ in Greece on the island of Kos and became the authority in the medical world until the middle of the 19th century, still quoted in medical textbooks and pathology textbooks. And you find in the description of these four corners his theory in short words, that is, the description of health as a state of balance, a balance between, in principle, four archetypic energy forms that he called earth, air, fire, and water. And these four principles were the elements that the human body was perceived to be made out of, and the doctor's task was to create the balance between these four different energies and qualities, and to remove the obstacles for healing. So from this picture we can learn two things. Man is embedded in a universal energy grid with 12 different angelic beings represented in this display as the zodiac signs, but in Christian symbolism the zodiac signs refer to angelic beings from the hierarchy of cherubim, creating forces in the vicinity of the godhood, and health described as the balance of power between four different energy principles. For 2,500 years, this was the leading idea. It came to an abrupt end in the middle of the 19th century in a book that became world famous, published by the Berlin-based professor in pathology, Rudolf Virchow, who was one of the leading professors of the Charité University in Berlin. And his book, Cellular Pathology, published in 1855, ended this era of Hippocrates and taught the world that diseases originate in cells that are deviating from their natural program, and all a medical doctor can do is to cut out and burn or poison or block these deviating cells from presenting a problem and causing a disease. So from the concept of balance to the concept of elimination of the pathological cells, it was a huge step. This is the era and the beginning of reductionistic, dualistic, and materialistic medicine. And of course, we can be grateful for the inventions and the news that this reductionistic view made possible. Surgery was developed, anesthesiology was developed, potent drugs were developed that block symptoms and block, for instance, the growth of bacteria, like antibiotics. And emergency medicine emerged and became a discipline that is today better than ever before in the history of medicine. But something precious got lost, and that precious background that got lost is the idea of establishing a healthy balance. And in my lecture, I will get back to this loss of the principle of balance and point out why it is so important to integrate both aspects. The elimination of what we don't want, but also to restore what we want, vitality and the power of inner balance, or the power to create or maintain an inner balance that we call health. In the following display, I give you my modern version of this picture that I just showed you from the orrery, the very rich hours of for the Duke of Berry 600 years ago. And we can today understand health as a balance of 12 different realms that I characterize in this display. So health can be understood as the balance of power between these 12 vital factors, and this is what I call my vital field theory and the concept of balance and coherence. Let's have a short look at these 12 realms of vitality, the vitality factors. It's the control of inflammation. Inflammation, that is a procedure that is activated by many events in our life: physical trauma, chemical imbalances, infection, trigger a healing reaction called inflammation. But inflammation can be more powerful and affect the body more than what is needed, or it can go over to a chronic silent inflammation that is nowadays understood as the main reason for all chronic diseases. So the ability to control inflammation is of utmost importance, and I make it my first vital factor, that we are able to effectively control inflammation. The second vital factor is detoxification, effective detoxification. We're exposed to toxins every day. We produce metabolic toxins in our body every day, and we need to get rid of these toxins to be in an ideal balance of intoxication and detoxification. We need around 80 different nutrients every day, and an abundance of these nutrients to be able to maintain our metabolism and our life in our physical body. So we need nutrients. We also need fresh water to make the chemical reactions possible. In an adult organism or physical body, we have about 65, 66, 67% of water. And if we count the number of H2O molecules in a human body and look at this number, it's about 99% of all the molecules we find in a human body is H2O, is water. So water is of utmost importance, and the fact that we get enough fresh water to dilute the toxins, to excrete them, to keep our chemistry alive is very, very important. So I make it my fourth vital factor. Of course, we need oxygen, and we need sufficient oxygen. Cancer cells thrive in the absence of oxygen. So oxygen is key, and the lack of oxygen through vessel deterioration when we age is a key factor for aging too. So oxygen supply, oxygen saturation is important. We definitely need a proper gut flora, and something we call the microbiome. We have different microbiomes in different organs. Today we know that not only our gut contains a highly complex system of bacteria with more than 1,000 different types of bacteria, the gut microbiome, but also the human breast, the vagina, even the liver or the brain has its own microbiome, and we need to have a proper microbiome to keep up our healthy life. Effective stress management is certainly a important vital factor too. If we look at what stress can do, it has become the number one killer in industrialized and developed countries, where we have found ways to get rid of infectious diseases to a very high level. So stress is the major killer and is directly linked to a large number of diseases. And stress management is important. It's my sixth vital factor. How our body handles sugar and how much insulin we need to get our blood sugar in balance is the next key factor, the next health factor. And of course, our immune system is definitely a health factor, and it needs to be smart. Our immune system, not only strong, as many say, no, it needs to be smart, because a too strong immune system leads to autoimmune diseases. It becomes overactive. It leads to allergies, or in worst case, an autoimmune disease. So smartness is necessary, and the immune system is definitely a vital factor in our life. We can look at health through the keyhole of the tiny little organelles that we find in every human cell, called the mitochondria. A cell contains between 100 and up to 1,000 of these small organelles where the transformation of nutrients in the vicinity of oxygen to usable energy, for instance in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, happens. And many diseases that we suffer from, inclusive all the cancerous diseases, have their biological origin in damaged mitochondria. So a powerful mitochondrial function is another key factor for our vitality. Life happens in a perfect balance between the two chemical qualities that we call alkalinity or acidity, which is the concentration of hydrogen atoms in a solution, in a liquid, and alkalinity and acidity need to be in balance in order to maintain life, a vital factor. And we are constantly exposed to potentially infectious particles, so our infection defense, that is not only our immune system, but the natural barriers in our soft tissues, in our mucous membranes, in our skin, is an important vital factor. So we need to be able to defeat infections and to heal from infectious attacks. So this is a short overview over the 12 vital factors that help me to describe what health is. Now we can turn these factors around and learn that they become factors that attract diseases, and in my example here, especially cancerous diseases. So I call them cancer attracting factors. And I start with silent inflammation as maybe the number one biological reason how cancer development starts in the human body. Toxicity is another factor. Nutritional deficiencies. The lack of water, especially inside our cells. Intracellular water deficiency can lead to development into a cancerous direction and turn healthy cells into cancer cells. The deficiency of oxygen, the lack of oxygen, is a key driver. So we call it hypoxia. A hypoxic terrain is likely to develop cancerous cells. An unhealthy gut flora contributes to the development of unhealthy terrains that eventually attract cancer or allow cancer to happen. And psychomental stress adds more factors via the connection between our mind and psyche, where stress originates, and the link through our nervous system into our immune system, something we call psychoneuroimmunology. Psychomental stress is a key factor for all the cancerous diseases. High blood sugar and high insulin is another factor that contributes to cancer, as sugar contributes significantly to the switch between healthy and unhealthy metabolism. So an overload of sugar allows cancer cells to come into existence, as one of the many factors I show you today. A misled immune system that is more engaged in inflammatory activities is another factor that speeds up the production of cancer cells. Mitochondrial damage is a very central biological factor, a key factor of carcinogenesis. damaged mitochondria cannot fulfill the needs of a healthy cell, and if energy becomes short, the cell switches off certain programs that lead to the transition from healthy to cancerous. An overacidity is another characteristic of a terrain that allows cancer cells to grow, and chronic infections are known to be risk zones or risk factors for cancerous diseases, well known as a key factor for cervical cancer, certain types of lymphomas, or liver cancer, to mention a few examples that are triggered by chronic infections. So now we have 12 cancer-attracting factors that are exactly the opposite of the vital factor that I showed you in the first display. With this picture, I want to honor the academic discipline that has been established and universally accepted, that is called psychoneuroimmunology. This discipline did not exist when I studied medicine in the 80s, but today we have institutes in universities all over the world that do research in this field. And I wanted to quote a word from Dr. Christian Schubert, who is a professor at the Institute of Psychoneuroimmunology at Innsbruck University, where he says, there is no difference between our feelings and our immune system. That's a very powerful statement. So every feeling interacts to the good or to the bad with our immune system. So mind and feelings, bioterrain, and immune system are three important realms that we have to take into consideration when we develop techniques and strategies to treat somebody who suffers from cancer. This is the recovery plan that I share with my patients. What you need to do if cancer knocks at your door. First thing is you need to understand what happened. Please get a clear diagnosis. This often, if not always, requires a biopsy. Please do it. Many of my patients are worried about the side effects and dangers around the biopsy, and I frankly tell them there is no alternative. You need to have a biopsy to get a clear diagnosis. Find your body's weaknesses through a comprehensive examination and lots of sophisticated biological tests and analysis to get a clear picture of what is going on in your body. In early stages of localized cancer, prepare for surgery with a so-called neoadjuvant treatment, and then get out the cancerous masses by surgical operation as long as that is possible. And that is the key strategy, especially for stage 1 and stage 2 cancer. Complete with appropriate adjuvant systemic treatments to reduce the risk of a reoccurrence, and in states of a systemic disease, for instance, all the lymphomas or leukemias, or what we call metastasized cancer in stage 3 or 4, you need to think and act holistically from the beginning, because surgery is not able to cure you any longer if you are in stage 3 or 4. Always keep in mind you are unique and you're not a statistic. Accept your diagnosis, but not your prognosis. You are unique and nobody knows exactly what you're able to do and what you're able to accomplish. Doctors are no soothsayers. Medical statistics are for scientists and maybe for politicians. They can give you a coarse estimation, but no definite truth for you as an individual. You need a powerful team, so start to create a team of specialists around you. Accept the fact that oncologists are specialists for drug-based therapies and by definition not interested in holistic treatments. It's sad, but it's true. Don't waste your time by getting mad at the system. Find your allies. Use every specialist for special aspects of your treatment, and find a holistic doctor or a life coach to help you with the planning and an overview of all the aspects you need to take in consideration. Always remember, you are the boss, and your doctors and all the therapists are your employees or your servants. And keep in mind that the word therapist in Greek means a servant. Do only what feels right. If it doesn't feel right, get more information until it feels right. Do whatever you do with your full attention and with gratefulness. Understand your choices, because every therapy comes with a risk-benefit ratio. This word is very, very important. Use this word when you look at your therapy options and your choices. Write down all your therapy options and what risk-benefit ratio they come with. Define your own level of acceptance for the right risk-benefit ratio that suits you best. Make a budget for your healing journey. You will need money to finance what your insurance will not pay for. Look into crowdfunding, donations, or ask your friends for support if you need it. Don't be shy. Use the Vitality Map in my book, Holistic Cancer Medicine, to find inspiration for better health. And look at your inner conflicts and stress issues, write them down, acknowledge what was, and get a life coach on board to help you with inner conflicts and stress issues. Use mindfulness. Accept the fact that there is, in most cases, no simple way out. Acknowledge what is used in mindfulness to move on with a long-time goal to live a good life. And if you're interested in healing, healing is a spiritual concept. Without a spiritual or numinous understanding of your life, it's so much more difficult to heal, if at all possible. Work with your emotions. Fear is the biggest incapacitator. Use mindfulness. Use techniques like radical forgiveness, mentioned in Colin Tipping's book with this title. Use emotional freedom therapy, physical exercise, artistic expression. Engage in social activities. Use the power of prayer or self-hypnosis to get your fear under control. Believe me, after 30 years of being a doctor, working and helping cancer patients, I came to understand that fear is the elephant in the living room, and the more you can handle your fear and make friend with it and release the pressure around fear issues and turn them into hope and happiness and creativity, the better you will get your disease under control and live a happy life. Revitalize and repair your biofield. And now we go back to my 12-fold cancer attractor field map or vitality map. We want to work with mind and feelings, with bioterrain, and with our immune system. So we switch on effective inflammation control. We switch on the detox mechanisms in our body. We investigate what we are short of and use more powerful nutrients or nutritional supplements to reestablish our health. We drink more pure and filtered water. We take action to get more oxygen in our body. We repair our microbiome in our gut. We work with our stress issues. We eat a low-carb diet. We repair our immune system and balance it with immunotherapy. We care for good mitochondrial health with exercise, powerful devices like PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic frequency therapy, hydrogen inhalation and other therapies, supplements, nutritional supplements. We balance our over-acidity with healthy food and alkaline food, and we get rid of chronic infections by appropriate treatments. That is the basis that we need to do in order to support the more specific therapies that an oncologist can help you with. So a summary of the therapies based on these 12 levels is what this display shows, and what I just mentioned. From here, we can go to more specific and what I call smart anti-cancer treatments. So the holistic terrain treatment is the basis. We switch vitality on, and now we do more specific targeted cancer treatments. And I bring two powerful tools to the table. One is called insulin potentiation low-dose chemotherapy, and the other is called local hyperthermia with radio wave heat. Insulin potentiation therapy uses a little bit of insulin that is injected intravenously to lower the blood pressure within a short time of 10 to 30 minutes, and then the application of a 20% dosage of the chemotherapy drug under low blood sugar conditions. This technique was developed in Mexico some 80 years ago by a medical doctor and surgeon called Dr. Garcia Perez, and I had the pleasure to learn the technique from his grandson. The therapy, insulin potentiation low-dose chemotherapy, is not only more convenient for the patient because of its lack of side effects, it is, in my opinion and my experience, sometimes even more effective than the full-dose chemotherapy that comes with the side effects that all the cancer patients that have gone through can prove to be harsh and lowering their quality of life significantly. And local hyperthermia radio wave heat therapy is a kind of radiation that uses radio waves instead of ionizing rays. It is not as sharp and pointy as classic radio wave therapy with ionizing gamma rays, but it has no side effects, and it can be added to other therapies like infusion-based therapies and act as a synergy partner to anti-cancer infusions or drugs. This was a photograph I took when I did the training with Dr. Donato Garcia Perez III, the grandson of the inventor. This picture was taken on a conference in Fulda in Germany in 2019, where I got my certificate as an IPT doctor approved by Dr. Garcia Perez. And there is even a textbook published treating cancer with insulin potentiation therapy. Unfortunately, there are not so many doctors that are experienced in this technique. There is an academy around Dr. Garcia Perez that exchanges knowledge and experiences and have meetings. But I wish that this organization grows and more doctors learn how to use insulin and low-dose chemotherapy to help their patients with less toxic protocols and protocols that allow a really very good quality of life. So these are the three drugs that we use. As an example, we use Actrapid insulin, fast-acting insulin, and inject a dosage that we calculate out based on a equation that takes the body length and the body weight into consideration. So we calculate out the amount of IV insulin that is needed to lower the blood sugar down to the therapeutic level where we inject the anti-cancer drug. In this example, the anti-cancer drug is curcumin. And at the end of the procedure, we inject 40% glucose to raise the level of blood sugar to normal again. In the next slides, I show you an overview of the non-toxic drugs that I use in combination with insulin potentiation. There is this antibiotic called taurolidine that was discovered to be an anti-cancer drug at the University Clinic in Berlin at Charité University. There are a few studies done with taurolidine in the treatment of brain tumors, glioblastoma, but also other cancer entities have been treated successfully with taurolidine that has almost no toxicity and almost no side effects. So a wonderful drug in the realm of non-toxic anti-cancer drugs. Vitamin C, of course, is a famous old drug that has been used for decades to get cancer under control. Artesunate from Chinese wormwood. Curcumin, a semi-synthetic analogous to curcumin from turmeric that can be ordered in or from compound pharmacies in Germany. DCA, dichloric acid, dichloroacetic acid, an injectable drug that comes with effects that switch on mitochondrial functions that have been ineffective in cancer cells and repair some of the mitochondrial problems that cancer cells live from. Phosphatidylcholine, a repair phospholipid that shows various benefits, improves liver function, brings more energy to the organism, improves overall brain health, vascular health, circulation, adds power to the immune system, and it is even used to improve male sexual function. Glutathione, the master antioxidant, please use it if you inject it in the reduced form for IV infusions, otherwise it's not worth it. Cannabidiol can be ordered from compound pharmacies, and we use it in a dosage up to 100 milligram per infusion. Resveratrol, a plant hormone from grapes with anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer properties, is a plant-based anti-cancer drug. Or MSM, so-called methyl sulfonyl-methane. And since a year back in time, we even inject methylene blue intravenously. There's a book written about it, and if you go to PubMed, you will be surprised if you have not done it before, how many publications there are out there in the medical literature that show that methylene blue, a totally non-toxic stain used to stain, for instance, sentinel nodes in breast surgery, how this organic molecule has antibiotic and even some anti-cancer properties that we use here together with other drugs. Mistletoe, of course, mistletoe extract is an immune modulator and a natural plant-based cytotoxic drug with over 100 years of clinical experience. So different brands from different manufacturers, and a book I can recommend everybody who is interested in mistletoe therapy. This work has been published by many colleagues from Switzerland, Germany, and the United States, and it is what the headline is: Mistletoe and the Emerging Future of Integrative Oncology. Very good book. Now let's go a little deeper into one of the aspects I mentioned at the headline of my first slide: gut repair with pro and prebiotics. You all might have read the phrase, "The gut is the father of all illnesses. All illnesses begin in the gut," a quotation from Hippocrates. Probiotics are foods or supplements that contain live microorganisms intended to maintain or improve the good bacteria or normal microflora in the body. And prebiotics are foods, typically high-fiber foods, that act as food for human microflora. Let's start with butyric acid. Butyric acid, or also called butyrate, is, together with acetate or propionate, a short-chain fatty acid. It is produced by the gut, by the microbiota, by bacteria such as Akkermansia, Bacteroides, and others that you can read on this chart. It's maybe the most important energy molecule for gut cells. It reduces the production of pro-inflammatory enzymes like HK2, and it is found in a nutrient that is very, very famous and used in everyday kitchen in India, ghee, or also called clarified butter. Ghee contains about 1% of butyrate. And here you see on this display, you have a local effect on the epithelium of our inner gut lining, but you also have a systemic effect of butyrate to the immune system, to glucose regulation, the lipid metabolism of our liver, and even the central nervous system gets beneficial effects from butyrate. The product I use is Butyflame coated, and my patients get in average 3 capsules, 3 times 2 capsules per day, so 6 capsules of this wonderful product. And again, you have a summary here of what short-chain fatty acids do. They suppress the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines such as TNF-alpha and interleukin-6. They also induce the release of anti-inflammatory cytokines. They reduce serum lipid and cholesterol levels, induce feelings of satiety. So patients don't eat as much if they have a obesity issue. It's good for weight control, and it influences positively cognition functions in patients suffering from Alzheimer's, dementia, and autism. So a wonderful product. And here you find references for the statements I just made. DIM is another anti-cancer molecule for oral intake from natural sources. It stands for D-indolmethane and is the product of a precursor called indole-3-carabinol that you find in broccoli, and we use it together with boswellia acids from frankincense. And to me, those two are amongst the most powerful anti-cancer molecules from natural sources that are published. So boswellia, classic intake is 2 capsules twice a day. And brocurafenib, a wonderful product that contains a concentrated, efficient dosage of DIM from broccoli, is what I recommend 2 capsules a day to my patients with breast cancer or ovarian cancer. And you can even use it for other types of cancer, because you will find studies, for instance, published by Professor Ingrid Herr from Heidelberg University, who showed in animal models that indole-3-carabinol and D-indolmethane reduces the amount of circulating tumor cells in other types of cancer, not only in breast cancer. And in combination with anti-inflammatory enzymes, protease or nattokinase from fermented soy, or lumbrokinase from an earthworm, they act synergistically to reduce the risk of metastases. So here again, 3 of my favorite anti-cancer molecules: lumbrokinase, boswellia, and broccoli extract in the product brocurafenib, for instance. Many of our patients are heavily pretreated before they come to our clinic, and they have liver detoxification issues. So we should help them to improve their liver detoxification. How can we do that? Well, we can ask them to eat fiber-rich food from organic sources. We ask them to drink sufficient water from filtered sources, or best would be reverse osmosis, super clean reverse osmosis water. And my recommendation is 40 milliliter per kilogram body weight a day would be ideal. If they sweat a lot, and if they come from warm or hot countries, they need more than 40 milliliters per kilogram body weight a day. But the average for Northern European, Central European countries is this number. We can help them to detox with fever-inducing therapies such as whole body hyperthermia, pulsed electromagnetic frequency therapies, gut repair, as I recently mentioned, multi-mineral, multi-vitamin products, MSM, and now the product that I recommend is Toxin Pull. And don't forget the emotional toxins. That is psychotherapy, mental training, mindfulness. But back to biology and nutritional support or natural medicinal support. Toxin Pull is a wonderful mixture of taurine, dandelion extract, some fulvic acid, humic acid, organic cilantro leaf extract, vitamin C, quercetin, silicea, and chlorella powder. A perfect combination of detoxifying agents, and I recommend my patients to take two capsules daily. If they are heavily intoxicated after chemotherapy, even 3 capsules a day can be helpful. We also use pulsed electromagnetic frequency therapy, and the most powerful device that you can get in Europe is this little machine called Hugo, and we integrated it in our therapies, and our patients like it, and we like it too. It's also a device that can reduce pain and soften muscular spasms, and you find even articles in the literature that have proven that, or that prove that pulsed electromagnetic field therapy has some anti-cancer properties. We use local hyperthermia, as I already mentioned in the overview. This is one of the machines we use. It's called HyDeep, manufactured in Italy from company Andromatic, and it's a brilliant device that allows you to overheat a region that is affected by cancer with precise control and a perfect cooling mechanism to not overheat the skin, but to overheat the tumor in the depth of the patient. And this is a device that we use for whole body hyperthermia. The Von Ardenne Iraterm that uses 6,000 watt infrared lamps to lead the patient's core body temperature up to the level of fever around 39.5 to 40 degrees centigrade. And the aim is to keep the patient in that temperature range, 39.5 to 40, for an hour or a little more than an hour, to get all the benefits from fever therapy, which is immune stimulation, detoxification, enhancement of drug perforation and drug uptake. And you see we give, parallel to the whole body procedure, infusions. So, once again, a summary of the holistic immune treatment at Arcadia. We do intensive testing, like we look at circulating tumor cells and do individualized therapy based on chemosensitivity or tumor gene analyses. We use targeted therapies with insulin potentiation and local hyperthermia. We use immune boosting and general vitalizing therapies such as oxygen, ozone, magnetic field, nutrition, rehydration, orthomolecular medicine. We have physiotherapy and osteopathy on board. We have lymph drainage therapy. We use medical baths, fascial treatments, and a variety of massages. We have a mental training coach on board that helps patients in one-to-one consultations to become aware of their inner issues and to work with forgiveness. Anti-stress therapies, group sessions are also what we offer, because a group can help each other to look at the issues and to support each other. So if you get a group to work with their issues under the guidance of an experienced therapist or coach, you can help the patients significantly in relatively short time. We use also energy medicine, tapping, EFT, Reiki, and singing bowl therapies. So this this is the whole, the totality of our therapies that we offer here at Arcadia Clinic in Bad Emstal in Germany. Let me summarize what we have looked at. And I want to remind us to a very old quotation from Benedict of Nursia, who lived in the 5th century, a monk who was also the founder of the Benedict order. He once said, "Ora et labora," pray and work. And he added the words, if you pray and work, then God will help you without delay. Ora et labora, Deus adestinamora. So, we need to understand what needs to be healed, and that is labora, that is study in English. We need to have a deeper look, what exactly needs to be healed. Go into the depth, both biologically but also mentally, spiritually, and find out what exactly you wish. Be as exact as possible. Visualize the healing process. And this is labora again, now more in the form of work. The Latin word labora can be translated with both study and work. And when that work is done, you need to let go. You need to make a pause. And that is ora in Latin. That is meditate or pray. Let go all of the needs and wishes and surrender to healing. Give yourself a pause. Feel grateful as if it had already happened. These techniques are described in various books: Colin Tipping, Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza. The rhythmical change of activities and going into surrender, a kind of non-activity. Because if you only run and try to fight and beat cancer, you will get exhausted and you will lose the battle because you did not respect your needs for pause and surrender. And let me close with a best case. The picture here from a Swedish lifestyle magazine called Nära, published this year, 2025, shows one of my patients, Carola, who has been in no evidence of disease for 4 years now and enjoys perfect health and creativity and full life after having been in stage 4 ovarian cancer, heavily pre-treated and reoccurrent when she came to our clinic for the first time, which is now more than 4 years ago. After some weeks of treatment, her reoccurrence went into remission, eventually in complete remission. Now she has been in no evidence of disease for more than 4 years. You can read her story if you go to my Facebook site. I translated the article from this Swedish lifestyle magazine into English. So go to my Facebook and have a look. If you want to dive deeper into what I just told you, you can get my book from a bookshop, the German version, Krebs verstehen and ganzheitlich behandeln, or the English version, Holistic Cancer Medicine. It's the same book. The publishers gave it different front pages. The German version is published by VAK Verlag, publisher in southern Germany, and the English or American version called Holistic Cancer Medicine is published by Chelsea Green Publishing in Vermont in the United States. And there is even a Dutch version of it that you find online if you look for it, published by Succesboeken in Utrecht, the Netherlands. This is how our clinic looks. It's located in a beautiful park in the middle of Germany, in a therapeutic village called Bad Emstal. Bad means bath in English, so there is a hot spring very close to our clinic. It's close to the city of Kassel, and international patients that come to our clinic are picked up at Frankfurt International Airport. We have our own shuttle service, and if you are interested in getting to know more about our treatments and get a treatment proposal, or want to refer a patient to us, this is our contact address. Please send an email to my booking secretary, Tanya, or my booking manager, George Ervik. The telephone number is mentioned here to talk to Tanya, and this was my presentation. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your attention. And I hope you found some interesting new thoughts in my presentation. And welcome back to Nutrinet Academy. I'm sure this will be followed up by Dr. Paul de Sederler and his team. And I'm already today excited to join the next Nutrinet Academy conference 2025. Thank you.